Did you know that Homer was fired for eating ice cream? Homer was playing polo with a broom at work. Lenny knocked him to the ground, and then they all punished him. Burns shows up. All that's left on the floor is Homer, laughing his ass off. Homer gets up, but he can't stop laughing. Then the ice cream truck came outside. Homer looked at Burns and saw that he was turning into ice cream. He hugged Burns and licked him. When he saw it was Burns, he kept spitting. Finally, he couldn't help himself. He ran out, intercepted the ice cream truck, and he got fired from Burns for it. Max brought him an ice cream. He paid $100 for it. Max took out the change machine and gave him change. This made Max sweat profusely. Hurry up and make up the change. Max fell to the ground and left completely. Homer got down on his knees and cried. He brings Marge to Max's funeral. Homer bought Max's ice cream truck. Bart says the ice cream truck got a really cool makeover from Otto. Homer said it was because of his design. Afterwards, Homer displayed a magnificent transformation. He took a job he loved. He was waited on by kids every day. He saw a lonely kid. The kid said he was lactose intolerant. Homer took out an ice cream and let the kid eat it. The kid ate it and instantly collapsed. What happens when Marge becomes an ice cream stick sculptor? She'll sculpt Maggie out of an ice cream stick, gets encouragement from Maggie. Then she sculpts Lisa and Bart, and she sculpted Fat Tony, who was strangling someone. Homer brought her mini ice cream sticks, and she spelled out subtitles. Simpson's yard is filled with statues of ice cream sticks from Springfield Town. Kent saw Marge's ice cream stick sculpture on the plane. He landed the plane and went to the Simpson house to interview Marge. He saw that Moe was in love with the ice cream stick sculpture. The tycoon approached Marge and decided to sponsor her ice cream stick art exhibit. He was so excited, she fired her gun. Marge took his gun and fired it excitedly. The day of the art show, Homer said he'd be back in time for the art show. Then he took off in his car. Soon it was time for Marge's opening. Homer was in the driver's seat. He arrived at Marge's art show on time and destroyed her ice cream stick sculpture. This made Marge very angry. Homer kept apologizing to Marge every day. Marge saw the picture of Homer. She left the room the next day. Homer took the kids and looked for her. Then he saw Marge on the roof of a building. Homer got down on his knees and begged for her forgiveness. Instead, Marge blurted out her love for Homer. Let the bullies move the ropes. Homer's giant ice cream stick sculpture came into view, and they look at each other with love. What happens when Bob switches faces and kidnaps Bart? A neighbor moves in next door to the Simpsons. Bart spits on his hand and tries to shake Walt's hand. However, Walt's greeting reminds Bart of Bob. Bart runs away in fear. He boarded up the door to his house. He was even afraid to see Walt's shadow as Bob. In response, Marge took him to the prison to make sure Bob was still there. After Bart sees that Bob is still in jail, he leaves. However, Bob assaulted a police officer. He stuns the cop with a taser and takes the key, gets over the fence and gets to the Simpson house. He is tied up by Homer and tells Homer that he is not Bob. His feet were the best proof. At this point, the real Bob leaked his foot out. He duct taped Bart, and his destination was the state line. His plan is to kill Bart here and not be held responsible. Then Walt appears and took Bob down, because he and the Simpsons had been to Bob's house. He learns what Bob's up to. He grabs the gun and points it at Bob, but Bob grabs it back. Bob is pointing the gun at them when the cops show up, because Bart had called the police to monitor Bob's whereabouts. But Bart and Walt's lives were in Bob's hands. At that point, the cops from all the jurisdictions showed up. They surrounded Bob and took him away. Bart was saved.